morning, Marriage Matters family.
Morning, everybody.
We are on the road, so we didn't want to miss an opportunity to still be able to connect with you on today. So please forgive us for the shaking of the phone, and I hope it stays where it is and not fall. But we just going about an hour and a half out for a family member that we lost. And we're going to social distance, and we're going to make sure that we take care of ourselves, and then we'll be back. But we definitely wanted to take some time and just say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, you guys.
Welcome back to
y'all. It's been, what, 3 weeks? 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
So we definitely didn't want to miss the opportunity, even though we're going to pay our respects to Uncle Ronnie. So, hope you all had a great new start to your new year. We're expecting bigger and better things personally and in our marriages and for our families.
That's right. You speak everything that you want into existence, and then you tell yourself, what does it take for me to do that? If you want something to happen, then you speak it into existence. Right. But then you have to tell yourself, what would it take from me to be able to do that I want to achieve or receive? And then also, while I'm doing that, how can I impact somebody's life in the process? What's my assignment in it? Because it's not just about what we want, goals that we want to accomplish. God sent people our way to help us along the way, to give us that next step, to help us, guide us. That's why they're there. That's why they talk about people coming in your life for seasons. Okay?
Some are there for a season, some for a lifetime. So the lesson that we're going to do today is through, probably can't see that, through our Mr. and Mrs. Journal that Pastor Lou gave us, and we're still going through it, so we're actually starting back over. But for today, January the 9th, is the treasure of your marriage. So the main scripture is James 1:17. And it says, every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. So that's James 1:17. So what I thought about, he does not change like shifting shadows. We need to make sure that we're consistent also.
Yes.
That we're not changing like shifting shadows even with our spouses.
That they different. And that's that's about building trust too. I can't trust you if I don't know which person you're gonna be.
Right, who you gonna wake up to today?
Yeah, you're gonna be Skeletor, you're gonna be somebody else, you're gonna be Fred Flintstone, you're gonna be George at the Jetsons, or who you gonna be today? You're gonna be Elmer Fudd, you're gonna be Bugs Bunny or something.
Okay.
Can you give me some consistency?
Or are you gonna be Wilma Flintstone?
Wilma.
Or She-Ra?
She-Ra. Jeannie. Who is that?
Goodness.
Harold Burnett.
Good morning, Jaleesa.
Medea. Yeah, who you gonna be?
So it's just about being consistent and not changing like shifting shadows.
Yeah.
And especially if we are trying to and desire to model ourselves after Jesus Christ, then that's one more step. Okay. So you want me to go ahead and read the devotion for today?
Yeah, you can, and then we can kind of delve into different pieces of that. And if anybody has any questions in the chat, because we want to answer them as you say them, because we're on the road.
Right.
But we don't want to not give you an opportunity to ask questions.
Okay. So it says, when you fell in love, you were excited about all you had in common. You felt complete and happy together. You enjoyed the affection and encouragement you shared. You were certain you God's good and perfect gift made just for each other. God's love and wisdom for your life hasn't changed. You know that neither of you is perfect, yet your marriage is still part of God's plan to bless your lives. No matter how you fail each other, God is still good. His word is always true, and he's as strong and able as ever to heal, mend, and make things new. I'm going to read that part again. It says he's as strong and able as ever to heal, mend, and make things new. He still offers grace and mercy no matter how much you sin and fail. So today, thank God for the relationship he created between you. Confess how you've neglected to cherish each other as his good gifts. Praise him for offering all you need for love and life together. Ask him to show his never-changing goodness by restoring your joy in each other. Depend on him for enduring love like his. And so I think that's very fitting for a new year. It's starting over. Remembering why you fell in love with that person. Remember what attracted you to that person. What qualities excited you about that person. Good morning, Miss Ruth. And just basically, like I like to say all the time, and I've said it multiple times, about pressing the reset button.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with it. Press the reset button. Start over. And it also mentioned confess how you've neglected to cherish each other as his good gifts. That's also part of hitting the reset button.
Yeah.
I know, like Gerrol said before, we've been through some challenges these last 5 months. And so we've pressed the reset button. Pressing the reset button is starting with a clean slate. That's forgiving your spouse the way God forgives us. That's showing grace to your spouse daily. So just like the little love is quotes that I started earlier this week.
She on the road, y'all.
Huh?
I said she on the road, y'all.
Love is all these different things. And sometimes when we get caught up in day-to-day life, the irritants of the day, whether it's related to your spouse, children, or work, whatever, we have to remember we haven't seen our spouses all day. That could be our safe haven. That could be our place of peace. Yesterday, I couldn't wait for him to get home so I could get off of work. I literally got off of work when he got home. And it was our fireside time just for us. Just to set the reset button, get the whole week of work off of us.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah. And then just have a really good conversation about life. What do you want to do? This is a new year. You can't do things the same way you did them.
Right.
You're going to have to make some adjustments, And I don't even know how to say the statement, but, like, I'm working on an area. And one thing that was said yesterday is like, it was something about the things that you don't, it's like the things that you don't confront. If you resist the things that you need to confront, they will persist. It was something like that.
Okay.
But I understood it because, sometimes having a different conversation, I don't like doing it. But out of love, it's necessary. So there's no avoiding it. So the way that we have those conversations, Millicent and I, have been much better with difficult conversations about feelings, about attitude, about whatever it is.
Right.
We're able to use that time in a way that's productive. You know, we know how to just take a breath.
Because the thing is, and what we had to, realize is that you can't move forward if you continue to do the same thing, and expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity, is to continue to do the same thing, expecting a different result.
Yeah.
And I think it was that's Jonathan Ziegler that said you can't conquer what you don't confront.
Yeah.
So he said that, I heard him say that years ago, and it's always stuck with me. You can't conquer what you don't confront. So that's with anything. But the key is, how do you confront it? Do you confront it in anger? Do you confront it in love?
Yeah.
Do you think about what you want to say and how you want to say it before you actually say it?
Before you say it, because you still need to empathize and understand. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is the empathy part, is that you may not agree with the person's feelings, but you need to look at it from a place of empathy to understand that that's their truth in that moment.
Right.
And you need to work with that. Because if that's not acknowledged, then it's just like a wall. And so this is 2021. And I want all of you to think about all the great things that you've done. I've been hearing people talk about how bad the year was. It really wasn't that bad. We understand that it was some deaths, and we talk about the coronavirus. But if you got a job, it wasn't that bad.
Right.
If you got a place to stay, it wasn't that bad.
Right.
If you got a vehicle and you can put gas in it, it wasn't that bad. If you have clothes that you can put on and ain't the same ones every day, it wasn't that bad. If you still with the person that you love, it wasn't that bad. You might want to kill them, but it wasn't that bad. But so
y'all still breathing.
Still breathe. And so I didn't take the year as that. I wanted to take advantage of saving money, paying off people, driving one car, keeping one in the garage, whatever it took.
Right.
Because during the time of calamity and unrest, there's always peace for somebody if you find it.
Right.
And so even though we've had some issues that we've had to face in our own marriage, there were things that we held true to. And attacking bills, trying not to attack each other, which I don't really think that we did that. I just think we had some disagreements. But plans and stuff that we wanted to do together, we didn't allow that to stop us from doing what we was going to do.
Still having date night.
Yeah.
All of that. Because the thing is, like you said, holding true to, even in the midst of difficult situation, you have to have some kind of foundation that you hold true to together.
Yeah.
Because that may be the few things that's really strengthening you at a moment of weakness.
Yeah. So what else? Is that last, the last part of it? I know it said heal and something else. So I was trying to see, do we need to cover anything in that part as it relates to relationship, family? That last paragraph, I know it was saying about heal.
It said, he's as strong and able as ever to heal, mend, and make things new.
That's right. Make things new. 2021. You got to do it differently. If it did not work in 2020 and you tried it in September, it didn't work. You tried it in October, it did not work. You tried it again in November, December, it did not work. It's not the way. You got to try something new. So what God is saying, well, I won't say what he's saying, what the word is saying there is that he's stronger than ever to heal, to mend, and to make something new.
Right.
So we're in the healing process, and so a couple of areas that we had to deal with, but now we're enjoying to make something new. Because out of all of that it came something stronger, and now we got like a new view, a new understanding, and a new way about approaching hurt, disappointment, pain.
And you know, one thing that still sticks with me too. One of the books that I'm reading is the Sacrificial Marriage. I think it is. It's one of the books that I had posted several months back, and the author talked about when he changed the way he looked at his wife and started looking at his wife as God's daughter. It made him change how he treated her, how he talked to her, you know, and for the better. So if we look at our spouses like that's God's child and treat them accordingly, I promise you the way you treat your spouse should change for the better.
Yeah. So 2021, you have to do the work. We have to do the work. You know, ain't no avoiding it.
Right.
It ain't it's just gonna grow.
And I will say this too. At the beginning of last year, after we came back from our cruise, God put that on me that stuck me throughout the year. That this was a year of responsibility and accountability. I didn't really understand the magnitude of what that meant. You know, but going through everything that we've been through, going through, seeing what other of my close friends have been through in their marriages, and how things, even in difficult situations, people had to still become accountable and responsible for their actions and deal with the consequences accordingly in order to be able to move forward to start the healing process. And I can truly say that I've seen that in 4 marriages. I've seen that in the year of 2020. When it just seemed like it was just hopeless or things were just really bad. I've seen and had the joy and opportunity to see how God had just stepped in and just recreated 4 different marriages. You know, and that's a big deal. So even in seeing that, I thank you for allowing me to take part in it, to, you know, be used in it, to give a word when it was needed, you know, to calm us and give us grace towards each other when we was dealing with our stuff, you know, and just move forward. Because that's the whole focus of this forum, is to strengthen and encourage each other in marriages, you know, to help build strong, godly, healthy marriages, and to share with others even when they feel like they at their end, there's no hope. But God is still in that healing and mending process, and that's what we have to hold on to.
So, as you make goals this year, and I know Millicent talked about, you know, stand guard and cultivate. I really want you to think about a garden. And there are only 2 kinds of gardens. One that you maintain and one that you neglect.
Right.
So we're going to just not even worry about the one that neglect, because the one that neglect got weeds, bugs, soil ain't fertile, nothing's being reproducing that, so we're not going to worry about that. But I want you to think about maybe some of the different kind of vegetables that you like to cook with, or different kind of fruits that you like to eat. And I want you to envision what that garden looks like. Lush fruit, lush vegetables, you know, just shining, no bugs, fertile soil, leaves with no kind of withered, you know, patterns or lack of water. And think about what that looks like.
And here's the thing, are you able to eat of the fruit of your labor? That's the question. Because if you can't even eat the fruit of your own labor, then you need to go back and reevaluate some things.
Yeah.
You know, what did I do wrong? Like one of our plants, we sprayed it, you know, with stuff that we sprayed the other things, and it didn't do too well.
No.
Okay, so this year we know not to do that. You can't do that. You know? And I an old lesson. We taught that lesson back in 2013?
It might be 2013.
14?
We had all that stuff on paper.
Yeah, but I got it though.
Okay.
I got it. And it was stand, cultivate, and guard. Stand, cultivate, and guard.
But the reason why I said that is because if you can envision your garden looking in that way, then you have to ask yourself, what is it going to take for me to make sure it stays like that?
Right.
That we don't allow weeds, bugs, other things that can contaminate and take away from that.
Right. It's the little foxes that spoil the vine. So that's what we have to remember. So, like Gerrol said, going forward, even if you didn't start off great like that, from today, I want you all to take the offenses that you still hold your spouses accountable for and wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
I want you to take the offenses of your spouse that you still hold heavy in your heart and press the reset button. Because if God gives us grace, new grace every single day, how much more does our spouse deserve that same grace from us, from each other, every single day?
Yep. So, if he's giving us that grace, then don't make it seem like it's such a task for you to do it. What are you holding on to it for? It's not making you happy. It's only tearing you apart, making you bitter, civil unrest in your heart.
Right.
So why live in that? Because even if you sitting there upset with your spouse, you're just hurting yourself.
So we have to learn how to get to a place where it's like, you know what? I'm tired of carrying all of this, but I need to talk to you and tell you how, when it happened, this is how it made me feel. So therefore, you may not trust your spouse with your feelings right now, but it's okay to tell them that if you're trying to move forward and make a better marriage for the both of you. So it's okay to tell them that, because you can't fix something that you don't know is broken, or you know it's broken, but you don't know what pieces are missing.
Yeah.
You can't fix it if you don't know. So be kind to yourself, be kind to your spouse, and have those difficult conversations without the screaming, without the yelling, and just say, this happened, and this is how it made me feel.
And whatever you do, don't do whatever kind of conversation.
Do not do it in front of the kids.
Don't do anything like that, because if you ever want to see your kids not have successful relationships, then go on and do it in front of them.
Right.
Because that's the only thing they're going to duplicate.
Exactly.
There are a whole lot of things that our kids don't even know that we've ever had to do. Because we never do anything in front of them. We shut that stuff down. Ain't nobody finna get no popcorn to no movie but cinema.
Okay.
You ain't gonna get no doggone popcorn to no movie in my house. We go into the room, car, backyard, whatever. But we don't do none of that foolishness in front of the kids, because that doesn't teach them anything by how to fail at communicating differences with somebody that they love. So we learned that early on just through being taught by Pastor Mike, and also, what is that?
Trash from somebody's car.
Through Pastor Mike and Miss Gary Van, is that, you don't do that. You shut that junk down, and you go and you live to fight another day somewhere else, but not in front of them.
Right. Because your marriage is between you and your husband.
Yeah.
Not you, your husband, and the kids. They're a product of the marriage, but they're not in the marriage. So we need to make sure that we focus on that.
Because what comes out of that is when you come back out of that room, you still may not be in a place of beautiful communication. You still want to slap him probably behind the neck or something. I don't know, trip him. You know, I don't know. But the main thing is they understand that if something took place in that room.
Right.
And they know that it was something got done. You know, and it might not be at 100%, but it's at none of your business percent. You know,
right.
they
But
see
you
that
have
something
to
got
stand
done.
as a united front
Yeah.
in front of those children. Regardless of how the issue may not be resolved, but you better act like it's resolved in front of those kids.
Yeah.
You know, and if you still gotta go back and talk about it later, you know, agree to table it. We've had to do it before.
Yeah.
You know, you tired and you gotta get up and go to work at 6 and it's already 2 o'clock in the morning. It's okay to agree to table it and we'll pick it back up.
Yeah.
But here's the key that we've learned very important within the last week. Don't let it linger.
Yeah.
Because when you let it linger, just like we talked about 2 weeks ago, that's just like sweeping more dirt under the rug. And eventually you're going to trip and you're going to fall on your face and hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So don't be a tool in your own demise of your marriage.
Yeah.
Step back, reset, refocus, and resubmit the plan of action.
Because you got this. You all weren't put together to fail. You got a bunch of people together to fail. But it takes work.
Right.
That commitment. And if you love the person, like you say you do, then you need to love yourself enough to know that you were part of the issue. There's no ever no one side, it's just one way.
Right.
We all got to look at what we bring to the table. But here again, it's 2021. You, I, we, us, we have to do the work.
Right.
So I'm committed to the process.
And I'm going to say this for myself. You know, I can't speak for anybody else. But a lot of times when you feel like things are out of your control and things will just continue to spiral out of control, it can really make you act out of character. So it's like bad behavior becomes worse behavior. You know, so step back, refocus, reset, and resubmit the plan of action. We got to do it. And here's the other thing. So many people feel like when they're going through in their marriage, that they're by themselves. You're not by yourself. This is nothing new under the sun. Whatever it is that you're going through, or whatever it is that you have been through, it's nothing new.
Somebody else has been through it. You know. And that's why we have Marriage Matters, so we can be able to have a platform. Because there's some stuff that we have not faced that you face. So we're not sitting up here thinking that we conquered everything. What we do is we let you know what we conquered. All right.
Exactly.
And how we came through that thing. And so just be open to loving yourself, forgiving yourself of behaviors that were unbecoming of a husband, unbecoming of a wife, unbecoming of a mother or a father. Guy made a comment yesterday, and I know he's not listening because he don't even know that we just met yesterday. But he was really talking about it like, man, I give myself, and then I come home and I got a 6-year-old, and I think she should understand. But because sometimes she cut up, you know, but I done taught her the right way. And he was like, she shouldn't understand because she's 6. And I'm her father, so I should be giving her the right kind of time.
Right.
You know, he really, you know, that one little activity yesterday, it was 12 minutes. But, yeah, I mean, that just really was profound that he would share that with somebody who don't know us, you know.
But I'm going to recap on what you said and put it in a different area. The same energy, time, and attention that we give at our jobs or to our jobs or the people that we serve at our jobs, you better find the great strength, energy, motivation to do that same thing when you get home. Because the people you live with, your spouse and your children, they deserve that from you. They don't deserve to get what's left over. after all of you has been rationed out to everybody else. You know, we've been through that too. We've had some tough conversations about that, and it wasn't cute. You know, but in hindsight, and we even talked about it yesterday, I was telling him that I feel like, you know, you give of yourself to everybody, and then I get what's left over when you get home, which don't be a whole lot. But then I had to think about it, and I said it yesterday, it was the way I was communicating it. Because I wasn't telling it to him out of love, because I wasn't feeling very loving at that time. I was feeling irritated. So we have to learn how to communicate what we want from my spouse, but not out of a place of frustration and irritation.
That's great.
And do it out of love.
I just had to look over that. Okay, come back, y'all.
So
And what she said was right on time, you know, because she was wrong. No, but seriously,
we were glad you drive.
it was, but it's enlightening to really to look at, like she said, how you can just allow yourself to get out of character, and if you don't address that really fast, you can really spiral out.
Right.
And you don't want to do that. It's too much investment in what you've built. And you all are doing some great things. So those things you keep doing, no problem.
Right.
It is the other things, the things like Millicent said that linger under the rug, not being addressed, thinking it's gonna work itself out. It ain't gonna work itself out.
Right.
It's gonna work itself down, meaning it's gonna take so strong a root. It's gonna be like one of them trees. And one of them trees, you know, they bend some of them.
Right.
And it might break, but the rest of that tree that broke off, that's still in that ground, still there, because it ain't been, you know, really got to get all that out. And so
a good tree would be like it's a palm tree. They bend, they sway, and do all of that. But how often do you ever see one into a break?
Looking at something now.
Under all the pressure, you know, under all the wind and all of that. But good morning, Katrina. But we have to, and then try to think about it like this: fall in love with the idea of you. I tell Gerrol all the time, I love the idea of us. You know, I love the story of us. You know, so if you start looking at your marriage, try to start looking at your marriage in a different light, a more positive light. Even if it's not in the way at that time, you know, speak those things. Pastor Mike is always tell us, speak those things that be not as though they are. His favorite one.
Yeah, let me sit on that with you. So, affirmations are important, because if you keep saying it, and not just saying it, because if you're saying it, it's something that you had a vision of what it looks like. Now, the next step is to add the action steps to make it happen. But I'm trying to remember what I learned yesterday about negative conversations. And they said that 80% of the people in the world speaking negative about just different things. So if we speak to other people 80% of the time negative, what are we doing? You know?
Yeah.
So to change that narrative about your marriage, to change that narrative about your husband or your wife, then we are going to speak those positive affirmations about you are a great husband, you are a great mother, you are a great best friend, you are an excellent leader in the workplace.
Right.
You know, and you keep speaking that, and you do things to support those things, even though they may not be a full manifestation of what you're saying. When you change your response and you change your attitude to an attitude of gratitude, then you'll find a way to make a person feel as though the baby step that they took was worth it all.
Right.
That I didn't, if and I'm not a cursor, but if I cussed your butt out with 5 words and I only use 4 today, go ahead on. You got 4 listening yesterday, right? It's a baby step.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if you asked your spouse to do something and out of them 5 things they did 2, that's a baby step.
Yeah.
Let your spouse know
That you
what
noticed it.
value they add.
Mhm.
Because if Millicent don't believe that she adds value to the family in any shape, capacity, or form,
Mhm.
she is not gonna be happy and she's not gonna do well.
Right.
You have to let people know what value they add. It can't be that everything is a criticizing doggone moment.
Right.
Because if it is, you need to sew your lips shut. Because there's just too much that people do in a day.
Mhm.
And I can't see that 100% of it is negative.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
we have to 2021. You're gonna have to change some things.
Right.
The things-
Change your response. Change your attitude when you come home. And Lamont, I want to address what you said. I know that yes, it is sometimes real easy to lose yourself. But then the thing is, that's where prioritizing your time, prioritizing your energy comes into play.
Yeah.
You can get so wrapped up in work where you lose yourself and lose sight of your family or everything that somebody else does because it's not in your plan for one thing, and you got all these different people pulling on you, and it's like, oh my gosh, okay, I just need a break from everybody. I need just either y'all need to be quiet and leave me alone, or I need to go have some time by myself.
Like that lady in that commercial, and she got.
Oh yeah, when
Which
they
one
got
got
the
that
call.
Lincoln? She got that Lincoln like, oh no, baby. The dog over here. This man sitting over here looking at TV. The kids all on the counter with M&M's, mayonnaise, and whatever. It was just how she went back outside. And got
Okay,
in the car.
so the one that says, I don't believe I add value and I'm never told much. So here's the thing. You have to start doing it.
Yeah.
Do it to your spouse. Well, my spouse don't tell me that. Okay, but maybe, just maybe, try it. That
Maybe they feel the same way.
maybe your spouse feel the same way.
And the only reason I'm saying that is because when Millicent and I were not addressing things these last, since August, whatever,
Yeah.
not effectively communicating
Mm-hmm.
in a way that shows empathy,
Uh-huh.
but also there's a connection to whatever that unpeels to the root cause.
Right.
So the communication got better is because one, I had to change my response. She had to change her response.
Right.
And then acknowledge the person's hurt or acknowledge whatever it is they're saying.
And don't just dismiss it.
Yeah, you don't have to agree with whether it's right or wrong. It is their truth in the moment, or in that moment when it happened, or because we didn't address it. It was their truth as it kept lingering on. That's their truth. So,
But see, here's the thing. So I'm saying lose yourself trying to make the others. Okay, but that's when you don't do that. You still keep God first.
yeah,
God, show me how to cater to my spouse's love language. Show me areas that I need to change in. While I'm sitting here complaining about my spouse don't do this, my spouse don't say that, I'm asking you to change his ways for the better, but in the process, redefine me, reshape me, change my way of thinking, change my ways of action. It goes both ways, but you got to be willing to give them grace.
and the other thing too is, one thing that she did and she don't think I noticed, what she started doing, and she just started saying thank you. I did something and it didn't even have to be something that was a big deal, but she would just tell me, thank you for doing that. You know, and it ain't like I'm some person she got to bow down to some foolishness like that. But I noticed that it's because she didn't take for granted that what I was doing was less of anything else. If your husband is adding value to you, to the family, by he might be a cleaning husband. Ain't that many of them out there, but he might be one. Or he might be the person that takes care of the yard. Or he might be the person that's more fun with the kids. But whatever it is, all you gotta do is say thank you.
That's the start.
That's the start. Thank you.
Because that's gonna open the doorway for other things. Because if you're just thankful for the little things, your spouse will be like, they actually notice. And I mean that I wasn't doing it for show, but if you've never told your spouse, okay, example, I'm at work, I get off work late, but you know you have to go to the grocery store, and before you can do that, you get home real quick, and only to find out that your spouse already went and bought groceries. Thank you. I appreciate you doing it. You know I needed to do it, but you did it, and now I don't have to. I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, because I wanted more of our weekend. And if doing that on that day, even though I was tired, would give us an extra 6-7 hours or whatever, or, you know, however what that took away. Because, you know, when you go out to go get food, sometimes you go to different places. Sometimes you can't find everything you want in one store. And so if that was going to give us more time together or more time with the kids, it was worth it. So.
And I hear what you're saying. I say things but never hear myself. So the thing is, just continue to say it, but stop looking for it back.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing is that when we do it out of a serving attitude and stop looking for it back, then before you know it, you're going to start getting it back. But in the end, during the process of praying for your spouse, you know, because of whatever may have happened in the past, you know, we understand that you could both not be trusting each other with your feelings.
Yeah.
You know, hardened hearts, the hardened places in the heart, you know, and the thing is, you have to start making chinks at that armor that's built up around the heart. It takes time. It didn't happen overnight. It's not going to change overnight. But you have to be persistent in your prayer for yourself, that God give you the strength and endurance to get through it and to do it in love. You have to be consistent in prayer over your spouse, that God, I'm asking you to change my spouse's heart, that they remember and return them to the love for me that they had in the beginning. And just do press the reset. God, press the reset button. Change everything. Make it all new. Because He can do that. And we're all human. But again, what is it that you really want? What is it that you really desire? You desire for a wholesome, healthy marriage that's on one accord. It takes time. It takes work. So, being human, I get it. We all are. You know, we've done and said some things to each other that we ain't proud of. But again, it's about walking in humbleness with your spouse, whether you get it back at the beginning or not. But somebody got to start it.
Yeah.
I stopped all the yelling and fussing and going off when he started changing his response to me. When I noticed that he started changing the way he responds to me, then it was like, well, what you doing all of that for? If he's changed his response to you, to your questions or accusations or whatever, then I need to start making some changes, because I know what I really want. And again, you have to stop looking. Once you stop looking for the return actions of love back, they're gonna come. They may be held up because you're looking for it. You know, spouse second, children third, everything else after that. But again, the same time and energy that we put into other things, we have to go back to what and who really matters. And I think that's what's important.
And I would say just pray and ask God to unlock whatever barrier that's stopping all of that that you want from manifesting itself. Because a lot of times it ain't a multitude of stuff, just like one or two things, or it could be just one thing. But that one barrier is starting to give roots to roots and branches to so many other things.
Right.
And so again, I'm gonna say it again. Thank you is a powerful word. Finding what value they add and letting them know. That is, that's important on any level. Whether you're a mother, father, husband, wife, boss, you need to let somebody know if they add value. And if they do, you exploit them.
Right. But I want you to think about it in this way. I have to initiate change 99.9%, maybe 180. But I want you to think about all of this. I want you to think about from high school all the way up until now. For every curse word you may have said, for every person you may have wronged, for every somebody you may have talked crazy to, for every dishonest thing you may have ever done, and add all of that up and realize that you still got grace to see another day. We should be able to do the same thing for our spouse.
Cooking with grease. You're cooking with grease.
You know, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's a work in progress, but one thing at a time. So the main thing, pray over your spouse that if they don't love themselves, maybe they did an offense and they've never forgiven themselves for creating the offense.
Yeah.
That's a barrier. That's a barrier to them loving themselves. That's a barrier to them seeing themselves as an appropriate spouse.
Yep. That's a barrier to them loving you in the way that you deserve.
Exactly.
Because they stuck.
Exactly.
You know, they need to be released.
Exactly. And a lot of times when you caught up in it, you don't know how to pray for yourself in that area. That's why we got spouses. Because we have to be the other side of that and learn how to identify when our spouses are stuck and learn how to pray for them in that area so God can get them unstuck. We can pray for them, we can be supportive, but the rest of the fight is on your knees. Pray over them while they sleep. God, let my husband or let my wife lay down and have sweet sleep, having only thoughts and ideas of you, and rest their soul, rest their mind, and ease their heart from whatever that is. That's a prayer that you can pray over your spouse while they sleep at night. And it's not easy, but it's a work in progress. And the thing is, if you truly love that person, it can be restored. I've known a lot of stuff through a lot of people, and they still together. But it's really comes down to what do you want and how much of the work are you willing to put in, no matter what it takes.
What you want to put into an investment. The house is built on a foundation. It's built by brick by brick.
Right. So I think we're going to go ahead and get on off of here and continue on our journey. But I will let you all know this. If it's anybody want to talk one-on-one, I'm here. We're here for the guys. Gerrol is here. Whatever it takes, whatever it is we need to do to promote healthy, happy marriages, we're here. Whether it's text message, phone call, we got to set up a meeting or whatever the case may be to get you through the process. Just know that we love y'all. We're always praying for y'all no matter what, even when you don't know it. So we need to set up some time, get together, discuss this stuff, work it out. Because remember, you're not in it and you're not here by yourself. So we're gonna give you all back the rest of your Saturday. We love you all. Call me, text me, email me, whatever it is you gotta do. Let's get it done. And we will see you all next Saturday at 8 o'clock. Share the video, like the video.
Mm-hmm.
I'll upload it on YouTube whenever we get back home. And we'll see you next Saturday. Discuss more marriage matters, because your marriage matters.
Oh, what? LaWanda, you over there? You missing LaWanda?
Mm-hmm.
But we are, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
We sure are.
Miss Ruth, you are very welcome. We love you too. You all stay blessed. And we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Did you do the your
I
marriage
did.
matters?
You was busy reading.
Oh, I'm sorry. You gotta do it again.
Oh.
Okay.
We'll see y'all next Saturday to discuss more marriage matters.
Because
your marriage matters.
All right.
Bye.
We in some traffic. What's